Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Olson from the Smart Weight Loss Coaching podcast. I've been working with Julia for almost 100 episodes now, and she has really helped me grow my podcast from basically just my parents, my husband and kids, and my sister as listeners to over 17,000 downloads. I mean, the amount that she expanded my audience went way beyond my expectations. She really blew my mind. I have quadrupled the number of downloads over the past 12 months. Julia has been so much more than just my podcast teacher. She has been like a partner to me, really taking an interest in my program and helping me more than I ever could have asked for. I highly recommend Julia.
How amazing is that? I am so grateful that Dr. Lisa shared her experience. And if her story resonated with you and you're thinking, wait, I want results like that too, that is exactly what we're doing inside the Podcast Growth Collective. It's the place for online business owners who want to turn podcasting into a powerful growth tool without the burnout and without guessing what to fix. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and finally start seeing results from your podcast, I would love to support you. Head to thepodcastteacher.com/collective to learn more and to join us. And now let's jump into today's episode. Welcome to Podcasting for Introverts. I'm Julia Levine, aka the Podcast Teacher. I'm a fellow introvert, entrepreneur, and educator. If you want to start a podcast and expand your reach without social media, this is the show for you. Let's get started. Hey, and welcome back. Today, I have another pop episode for you. I've reviewed someone's podcast and have created a podcast optimization plan to make their podcast pop. If you're a current or aspiring podcaster, listen in as a fly on the wall for our conversation. I guarantee that you'll find something of value in this episode that you can apply to your current or future podcast. And if you'd like to chat with me about how we can make your podcast pop, you can schedule your own free call with me at thepodcastteacher.com/pop. Today, I'm chatting with Heather Davis, host of the Speculative Fiction Writing Made Simple podcast. And we're talking about how to get more people to discover her show organically without a lot of marketing efforts. If that sounds like something that you want to, keep listening. Well, let's jump in and talk about your podcast. So first of all, congratulations on getting it up and running. And I was able to listen to a couple episodes, and I just want to start out by saying that I think that your audio quality and your content are both fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So those are, not small feats. So fantastic job there. So because your content is really good, really helpful, giving tangible tips and practical advice, I think that your biggest problem with growing is probably related to discoverability, people either finding your show and or people choosing your show from the list of results.
For sure.
So I have a 3-step plan that I created for you, and I can send you a few notes after this call as well.
Great.
Yeah.
I've got my pen and paper here though.
Yes, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that your title is great. It has, keywords in there. It's fantastic. I would love to expand that even further and take it up another notch and add a subtitle.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to accomplish with adding the subtitle is just getting more keywords in there. So if someone is searching speculative fiction writing, you're the first result. For fiction writing, you're in like the top 15 or top 20 somewhere in the results on my search, which is great.
Oh, good.
But, people may just be searching writing. They may be searching how to write a book. They may be searching, publishing a book, things like that. So I would love to see some kind of subtitle that gets more keywords in there. And kind of the simple draft I just came up with off the top of my head was how to write, edit, and publish a book.
That's so funny because that's exactly what's in part of my perfect. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's where I grabbed that from your intro. And I know you use the word novel a lot, so this may come down to your audience and kind of if there's a way to fit in the words both book and novel in the subtitle, that would be ideal. But if you can't fit both, because it's
I
kind of
think
awkward.
honestly, more writers, as someone internal to the field, I know that a book is typically nonfiction and a novel is typically fiction, but I don't think even most people who are writing novels get that. So I think maybe book is the better way to go because anyone who's writing something, they're like, I'm writing a book. I mean, technically it's a novel, but I'm writing a book. So
yeah. Well, and the couple episodes that I listened to in particular, it kind of seemed like you were talking to someone who is kind of further in their journey of writing this novel, that maybe they've already taken a class, they've already started writing. So they're not brand new, like they just woke up one day and are like, I think I might write a book.
They're frustrated. They've done all the things and none of that stuff has worked because I want the people who are ready for a more intensive coaching program where they're like, I've tried all the do-it-yourself stuff and I know I need an authority to help me do this now.
Yeah. So if you're talking to people who are already kind of in the field, they may be more likely to search novel because they're further in their journey.
Right.
So give that a little thought. Again, if you can put both words in there somehow, I'll leave that to you to wordsmith.
Gotcha.
That would be ideal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, when you say put a second part to it, does that go on the little clip art or does that go somewhere else? Because I remember listening to a podcast episode of yours once where you talked about that and I'm like, I have no idea where that goes.
Yeah. So that's a common question. And I refer to it as a subtitle or sometimes a title extension just to clarify that we're not renaming your podcast and you don't have to say the whole big long thing when someone asks you what your podcast is or in your intro. The only thing we're doing is adding those words into your title field. So in the back end of Buzzsprout where it has the name of your podcast.
Gotcha.
You're
title
just
field.
Yeah, you're just putting those extra words in there.
Perfect.
And it's purely for the robots, for the search. So you don't have to say it. You don't have to put it on your cover art, anything like that.
Okay, that clarifies. Thank you so much. Okay,
yes,
yay.
absolutely.
I can do that.
Good, great. All right, and kind of along the same lines, my second tip for you is to focus on one primary keyword. And this word, it might be writing. That seems to be, a really all-encompassing term.
Right.
So when we're focusing on this one primary keyword, we want it to be a fairly broad term, and we want to use that term over and over and over and over in your episode titles.
Okay, in titles. Gotcha.
Yes. So you already have that word in your show title, which is fantastic writing. And so because the more times it appears within your content, the higher the algorithm is going to display you in the search results. And so, right now, if I search writing, if I search fiction writing, you're in the top 15, 20, like I said. But if I just search writing, you're pretty far down the list.
For sure.
So
yeah.
I would love to get you bumped up. Because then if people are searching writing tips or writing strategies or whatever they're typing in, you're capitalizing on that one broad word of writing
That makes
that
perfect
may be
sense.
in whatever they're typing in.
It's funny. I'm always trying to think of names like title names for the thing like 3 this or 5 that or how to the other that I never really thought about. Like, you know what I mean? That sometimes the titles wouldn't necessarily on their own let anyone know exactly what the episode is about, as far as that it's writing, that big umbrella category. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's challenging because you're writing the episode titles for humans and
Yeah.
you're writing them for the robots.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate balance of putting keywords in there to please the robots and make sure you come up in the search
Yeah.
algorithm, but also not being so boring and formulaic that, it's not exciting, not enticing for someone to click play on. So
Yeah.
it's a balance. So going forward, obviously keep that in mind, but you can also go back and change some of your past titles. And
Hmm.
I would love to suggest that you do this by kind of adding on a second part, almost like a subtitle of the
Oh,
episode
yeah.
title.
Uh-huh.
So for your most recent episode, that's, the timeline for crafting a solid debut novel, you could add on to the end of that writing tips for your first book, you know?
Oh, brilliant. I hadn't even thought of that. I guess I don't know. I don't know what I keep doing, not thinking that well through it.
Well, and again, it's a balance and it's hard to kind of break out of that, especially when you're more
Yeah.
of the creative type that, it's just like, oh, I don't want to have to be confined by the keywords,
Yeah.
but that is going to help your podcast grow.
That
So
makes sense.
I like to tell, other people that this is it's a balance, and sometimes you're going to get that keyword in there, and if you get it in there 8 times out of 10 and the other 2 you're just having your fun creative day and it's a fabulous title for humans, that's fine. I'm not going to fight you
Gotcha.
on that.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. I will definitely do that from now on. Yep.
Yeah, great. And then step 3 of the 3-part plan is to see if you can redo your cover.
Okay.
I would suggest hiring a professional to do it
Okay.
because, like with a book, the cover is someone's first impression.
For
And
sure.
as much as we don't want to think that we judge all of the beauty inside of a book based on one image on the cover, we do. And
For sure.
so I think that your cover could benefit from a little polishing, a little more professionalism to
Hmm.
reflect the caliber of expertise that you have. And then, I love how your title is very large, very easily readable font.
Hmm.
So definitely when you're communicating with someone, make sure and emphasize that you'd like to keep that aspect of it. Um, and then I know you have that little like fountain pen icon
Hmm.
thing on there. I'd love to see something that's a little more concrete imagery. So maybe like a stack of books or,
Gotcha.
a literal pen in someone's hand, kind of writing across paper type of
Yeah.
thing. It took me a couple glances to figure out what that little icon
Yeah.
was. And
Gotcha.
so obviously, if we're spending a few minutes looking at it, that's fine. But when most people are making a instant snap decision, we want it to be immediately in their face, like a stack of books. This podcast is about books, writing
That
a
makes
book.
perfect sense. Yeah. And do you have suggestions or like a reference list of people like to hire for this type of thing, or a place where you would suggest that I go where I could find, quality people for not an extraordinary price?
Yeah. So there's one designer in particular that I think
Hmm.
would work really well with your particular style.
Hmm.
And that is Jenny. Her website is jennyhdesign.com. And she has some examples on her site there, which again, just kind of the vibe I've gotten from your website, gotten from, your current cover. I feel like she could create something that's still you,
Right.
but has a little bit more polish, professionalism in it. The other option that has been somewhat successful for other students has been 99 Designs. They have a podcast cover design feature where basically you put in kind of what you're wanting in the cover, and then different people almost like bid on the project. And so then you kind of get to choose and go from there. I haven't done that myself, but I've heard good things about the results because you get multiple options.
Oh, that's neat. Okay,
So those would be my two places to start.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I've got those up right now, so I won't lose them.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, those are kind of the main three things that I would suggest doing, because I think that coming up sooner in the search results, getting the algorithm to display you in the search results sooner is going to help. And then revamping the cover when you are in that list of results, people are more likely to click on your show. And I'll throw you one bonus tip is that you may want to consider looking at Overcast, overcast.fm. They have where you can purchase podcast ads on their platform.
Oh.
And I don't really recommend this for everyone because some of the ad categories are extremely expensive, but they have a category of fiction. And so these are people that are interested in fiction podcasts. And then, it's not too much of a leap to think that they may be interested in starting their own book, novel. And so having your advertisement on a podcast that they're listening to. And what this is just like a little banner that appears at the top of their podcast player. And so it'll display your cover art. So definitely revamp the cover art before you get to this step. Sure. But then it also, you have like a sentence of like a little like tagline that basically tries to get people to click on that ad and to come and listen to your show. And so they have a fiction category. Each ad runs for 30 days. And right now, the fiction category, the prices fluctuate based on demand and time of year and all that stuff. But they're right now it's $160 for 30 days, which
bad.
Is not bad. And that could be a way to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit, and then word of mouth hopefully can help facilitate even further growth.
Yeah, I mean, I have had steady growth. I'm getting like anywhere between 80 and 120 downloads in the first 7 days of, and that's up from like 31 the first time. So it's been very slow though, and so I'm like, so I definitely will do that. Absolutely. I didn't even know that you could, I guess I knew you could purchase podcast ads, but I'd read about it before and I was like, it seemed more intensive than this does.
So there are a lot of different options for ads. Like I said, this one's like a visual banner that appears at the top. And so there are ads where, you verbally record something and it gets inserted in someone's podcast. You can do Facebook ads. Like there's all sorts of different ad options. Overcast is a nice place to start because it's super simple, super straightforward and easy. There's not really any strategy that needs to go into it.
That's what I need right now. At this level in my ability, I need straightforward, easy, and just like
yeah. So how do all those steps sound to you? Does that feel good? Feel doable?
It feels very good and very doable, and definitely things that I wouldn't have thought of doing. So I think, and they're simple enough that it doesn't feel overwhelming to go implement them. Thank you so much, Julia. You are brilliant at what you do, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. That means a lot. All right, that's all for today. If you'd like to chat with me about how we can make your podcast pop, you can schedule your own free call with me at thepodcastteacher.com/pop. Until next week. Happy podcasting! Thanks for listening. If something in this episode resonated with you and you're thinking about starting your own podcast, I have a free resource that will help you. It's called the Podcast Roadmap, 10 simple steps to launch your own podcast, no fancy tech required. Just head to thepodcastteacher.com/roadmap to grab it.